Hello, I'm Jenna, and welcome back to the Crafty Corner. We're starting off this new year with a new challenge over at the Funkie Junkie Blog. Our challenge is going to be something old and something new. We're going to be running this challenge from January 12th through January 25th. Don't forget to check out the blog for more details. Link is down in the description box. And if you'd like to play along on Instagram, just use the hashtag #TheFunkieJunkieChallenge. So I'm going to be using some old die sets paired with the newer Distress Mica spray stains. Now, you could definitely use some old favorite things from your stash and then pair them with something that is new to market or something that is new to you. We greatly look forward to seeing all of your crafty creative makes. Now, if you'd like to play along with the card that I'm making today, go ahead and pause. Okay. Let's head over to the Crafty Corner. To start off our card, we're going to be creating the background. To do this, we're going to be using some of the Tim Holtz Heavy Cardstock White. And for our technique, we're going to be working with some embossing resist. To do this, I'm going to be using some of the Ranger White embossing powder, and we're going to be stamping with some of these Tim Holtz snowflakes. So to start with, let's put one of these on our acrylic block and ink it up with some of the Distress Embossing ink. So I'm just going to tap this down on here, pick up the stamp, tilt it to make sure I've got good coverage. Since we've got shine, that means we've got ink on the stamp. Okay, let's start stamping. So I'm going to just set these back to back because I'm going to alternate between the two stamps. And we're just going to keep inking and stamping. I'm just going to make a snowflake border around the edge of this card. Okay. And I'll just turn the paper as we're moving around the edge. And I'm not really trying for perfectly in-line snowflakes. I want these to be just a bit offset. So I'm just stamping them where they fall. Not much of a plan, just getting some snowflakes down. All right, last one. Perfect. Now I'll set the stamps aside and we'll grab some scrap paper and then we will add the embossing powder. Okay, paper here. Now for the embossing powder. So for the embossing powder, I'm just going to dump it on and then move it around and then gently tap off any extra. Okay. Just gently tapping along the side, brushing off stray pieces of embossing powder, and that looks pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to set this down a moment while we put the extra powder back in the jar, and then we will be ready to emboss. As always, I always put the powder away first because if I don't, I will be sure to knock it all over the floor. So to avoid any craftastrophes, we're going to quickly seal our container. All right, now let's get out the embossing gun. I'm going to go ahead and put this part on fast forward while we emboss. Okay, and our embossing is completed. We've now got our lovely snowflakes here. And just to keep my fingers safe, I was using the Tim Holtz squeezers just to give myself a little bit of a handle to use while tilting the paper to do some embossing. Now, we're getting to the resist part. Since we have embossed these lovely snowflakes in white, they are not going to be picking up any added color. And to add some color, we're going to be using some of the Tim Holtz Distress Sprays. We're going to be using a combination of prize ribbon, speckled egg, and the Distress Mica Spray Stains, Snow Flurries, and Frosted Juniper. Definitely a winning combination. So to get started, I'm just going to spritz the paper with the Distress Sprayer. There we go. Our surface is now speckled with water. So I'm going to start off with a dash of prize ribbon. And we're going to follow that up with some speckled egg. That's looking pretty good. I'm going to dry this and then we're going to come back with the Distress Mica spray stains. As we can see, wherever I have the snowflakes embossed, the color is not sticking to them. Let's quickly fast forward while we dry off this first layer. Okay, we didn't need this background crispy dry, so it's still a bit damp in places, but that is perfect because we're now going to add in the Distress Mica spray stains. So I'm going to give these a good quick shake. Hear the mixing ball rattling around. Check the bottom, still a bit of sediment, so we need to shake just a little bit more. All right, sediment is shaken up. So let's go ahead and start spritzing. So I'm just going to put a little bit of the mica here and there. Add just a touch of the frosted juniper. Ooh, that is a nice moody December sky. And I'm just going to go in and add a few water drops. All right, I'll probably go back with more water after we've dried this off. Okay, and here's our finished background. As you can see, we've got some of that lovely mica shimmer, and our snowflakes are still a beautiful pearly white. So let's set the background aside for the moment. And now we're going to be altering a baseboard frame. So this came as polka dots, which is not going to fit the woodland theme that I'm going for. So we're just going to flip it over and we're going to add some texture paste to it. And we're going to be using the stencil THMS 019 to add some texture to this frame. So I've got my texture paste matte. I'm just going to open that up, take off the press and seal, grab a scoop, and add it to our frame. So no washi tape or anything fancy to hold it down. I'm just going to hold the side with one hand and scrape gently with the other. Just pushing the texture paste through the stencil in order to get a more interesting frame. Okay, that looks all right. Just pushing that through all the little pieces. Good. And I think I will paint this frame silver once it's all nice and dry. Okay, good. Now we'll just carefully lift this off and try not to smudge anything. Good. That looks really good. Ooh, just gotta be really careful as I lift this up. Take the little extra pieces off the edges. Go around the inside. Gently scrape that. Turn it. Scrape the other side. This side. The inside. Oh, and just a little bit over here. Okay. That looks great. So I'm going to set this aside to dry and we'll come back to it in a little bit. While we wait for our frame to dry, we're going to work on some layering. So we've got a great background with the snowflakes, and I wanted to put some of this over the top. Now I need to get a couple of rough measurements, so I'm just going to line this up on the media mat and count a few squares so I know exactly what I need to trim this paper down to. All right, the frame is dry enough for me to touch, so let's see. This is going to be 3 inches by 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to be cut down to 3 by 4. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to be bringing in something very new to me. I was able to get my hands on one of the new mini Tim Holtz trimmers. So let's go ahead and cut down our paper. And we're cutting it down to 3 by 4. And I think I'm going to give myself a couple of little marks just to get myself started. To do that, I'll just grab a pencil, use the media mat to make a couple of quick marks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. And 1, 2, 3. Nice and easy. Okay, I'm lining it up with the first mark. Good. And cuts perfectly. Okay, where'd my other mark go? Ah, there it is. Okay, and trim. All right. Definitely loving this. And to keep the blade lock, just pull back lightly and it clicks into place. So nice and easy and perfect for transport. Okay, so we've got this piece, and I will grab some of the ATG tape and we'll quickly adhese it. All right, and let's stick this down to our background. Good. Just make sure it's straight. That's looking really good. And we'll set that aside for the moment. Let's go back to our frame. So we have our frame. It's now nice and dry, and we're going to be painting it with some of the distress paint. We're going to be using brushed pewter. So we'll just give it a good shake. I'll put a little bit off to the side, and I'll grab a paintbrush. And let's go ahead and add the distress paint. So we're just going to quickly brush this on. Oh, I like that over that texture. And I'm going to turn it on its side to make sure I get the edges as well. Okay, oh, inside edges too. Good. Yeah, nothing fancy, just brushing on the paint to make sure that we've got a good coverage. Nice thing about distress paint, it doesn't take very long to dry. Looks like I need just a little bit more paint. All right, turning this around. Got the edges. Good. Okay, so I'll just set this down for a moment and let it dry. Now that our frame is dry, I'm going to be adding a little bit of added detail to this. I'm going to scribble on a light coat of black soot distress crayon, and then I'm just going to smush it around with my finger so that I can highlight some of that wonderful texture that we added earlier. There we go. Now we've got a more grungy silver. Okay. There, I am pretty happy with that. So let's go ahead and start adding our main focal point. For our main focal point, I have decided to use a older vellum scene. This is an ideology piece, and we're going to use part of this to act as a setting for the two little deer that I've die cut. Winter Wonderland. This die set is from 2018, but it's still a fun one to pull out and play with. So I'm just going to line this up along the back, kind of get an idea of which part of the scene I want. Right there looks good. And I'm just going to go in with a pencil and give myself a mark, and then we'll trim this off. Okay. And I'll pull back in the mini trimmer for this. Here we go. Nice and easy. Okay, so let's take this piece and glue it onto our frame. And I'm also going to place the deer at the same time. So let's get our collage medium. We'll flip our frame over. This is the back side. So I'm going to put the deer kind of poking out into the scene. Lay down a good layer of collage medium. Okay, and let's just get these little deer poking out. Oh, something like that. Looks good. And the other little one. Put that right there. Perfect. Okay, now we're just going to gently slide our vellum piece into place. Actually, I think I'll put it down like this. Then we'll be able to flip this over and line it up. There. Okay, pick that up. And there's our little scene with the deer. Quickly wipe up that glue ooze. Okay, and we'll bring back our background. There we go. And we'll add just a little bit more collage medium. I think I'll just go around the edges of the frame. There we go. I'm gonna smush that down just a little bit so we don't get too much glue ooze. Okay, and we'll place that onto our card front. There we go. All right, now I'm just gonna hold that for about 10-15 seconds. Then I should be able to lift my hand up and get rid of any extra glue ooze that may have come out from around the frame. Then we'll be down to just finishing details. For finishing details, I have got this fantastic little snowflake. And this is from Ideology Adornments. And we're going to be adding that to our card as well with a bit of twine. And I've got this kind of rusticy looking twine that we can use to add the snowflake. Okay, that looks good, and I'm not seeing too much glue ooze. Fantastic. So I'm going to take some of this, and I want to wrap that twice around the card. Good. Just cut off the extra, then we'll go in and attach our snowflake. Okay, so I'm going to take the snowflake and we're going to just stick the thread through the little loop. Ooh, it's a little bit stubborn, not a big deal. There. Okay, get the snowflake. Good. And I'm just going to tie a little knot. Make sure the snowflake doesn't wander off. Okay, just a simple overhand knot, nothing fancy. All right. Got my snowflake. Now, let's just wrap this around the card. I'm going to take a little bit of washi tape and just tape the string off in the back. There. Use some of this, just a little piece. Okay, and we'll put that right here. Good. Now I'm going to take this part of the string and we're going to wrap it back around the card. just like that. And then I will tape it off again on the back of the card. A little bit of tape and stick it down. Excellent. And there's our little snowflake charm. And I might just scoot it over just a little bit. I like that. All right, last thing to do is to add a sentiment. And for the sentiment, I'm going to be pulling from this year's Tim Holtz Christmas sticker book. And there was a perfect quote in here, "The kindly winter." So we're going to take that one out, set that aside for a moment. And I think I'm going to place the quote on a banner of some sort. I've got this little scrap piece. Do I like that? Yeah, I actually do like that. Okay, so we're going to put the quote across here. And maybe if I tuck that under, oh, even better. I'm going to tuck that under there. All right. So I'm just going to pick this up and quickly snip off the extra. And then we will glue that strip down and add our quote. Ooh, I really like both sides of this. I think that side is going to look better. All right. So I'll just take the collage medium and add a little bit to the back of this paper strip. I'll stick that down here. Just like that. Good. And add the quote. And there we go. Here is our finished card. So today we've been playing to the theme of something old and something new. We've used the new Distress mica spray stains for a bit of added shimmer in our background. We've played with an older Tim Holtz stamp set. We've even used a die set from 2018 for these darling deer from Winter Wonderland. And we used all of these new and old things to create a new card for the new year. So welcome 2022. We hope that you continue to join us for this creative journey over at the Funkie Junkie Challenge Blog. We greatly look forward to seeing all of your creative makes. And don't forget that you can also enter over on Instagram. Simply tag your challenge piece with the Funkie Junkie Challenge. And if you'd like some more detailed instructions on this project, I have a written project tutorial over on my blog, which I will be sure to link down in the description, along with a list of supplies that I have used for this project. So thank you very much for joining me today here at the Crafty Corner. And until next time, happy crafting!